Yo everyone, it's End of the Line here. You're very welcome to hopefully what'll be the beginning of a series of videos on different setups. Sometimes we'll do the same setup, sometimes we'll do different ones, but today we're going to be focusing on the Shamshir. Two-handed, it's a not quite a meta setup, but it's definitely a very strong one, and I really hope you enjoy it, and we'll be ready to crack on. As you can see here, we are going into the arena against our first person. Two-handed katana kind of gives me the indication this person isn't really using meta. And as an off-meta setup, I do think that the Shamshir really shines. You know, low poise, gets a guaranteed poise break. We see it there. We R1, we R1 again. Managed to clip him, and there again with that same thing. I realize now I can aggress almost with impunity. Does have Moonveil though, so I do have to be careful from neutral, but he is going to go for the trade with the Stormblade. It doesn't end well for him, unfortunately, and that's going to be me taking the win in that case. As I was saying, you know, it's not a particularly strong setup against very high poise. It can struggle. Doesn't get that guaranteed poise break, and you have to play it super careful, but I have had some success. Here we are, we're going to be going up against what I believe is a Colossal Sword. Yes, indeed it is. He's going to be using a Poison one if memory serves. Goes to that, tries to get the roll catch. Out comes the Poison Mist. I'm going to make a couple of blunders here. I jump into the Poison Mist, and while this guy doesn't do a very good job of keeping pressure, which is a huge mistake, he should have very much punished every consumable that I used there. I set up for the R2. I'm quite high on Poison. I decide to go in anyway. Take a big risk here, go for the Bolas. Doesn't really matter. He's still going to be just out of range. He's very low. He's one shot. He is a weapon that's very slow. I space him out, and then he backsteps instead of rolls out. I'm not sure if he would have survived if he had done the roll as opposed to the backstep. Would have been very cool to do that backstep into an R1. Very fancy, however, it did end up getting him killed. And here we're going to go up against a halberd again. Another person using off-meta. Not ideal. Is going to cost him here in this matchup. I realize now I can poise break him one. That's going to be huge. Again, I'm going to be looking for those jump in, trying to go for that. He goes to the rolling attack. Not great. Think that's going to hit, and it actually, I get punished for it. He is better stun. I'm out, I'm forced back into neutral. I managed to get the swap that takes a decade, doesn't matter. Punish his attempted buff there. All's good. Try to jump that. That's two blunders now I've made in this fight. And as you can see, I'm very low. But he rolls out. He respects my pressure a bit much when he could have just swung. I would have been punished. He was afraid. I managed to get the roll catch. That was to a degree luck involved in that one, that he decided to be terrified of me for no good reason. Doesn't matter. I take the win. We take those. Now we are going to be here. We are just beginning this duel. We are going to have a sword and board user. Not sure what the deal was with all the arena players today. Goes to that. I realize now that's how he's going to be playing. He does have poise, so I now have to be cognizant that he is going to be able to tank an R1. However, all I need to do is get one. That means I can guarantee a poise break. Even with the ghost hit there, I know he's very low on poise. I stay in like an idiot. We managed to get another poise break guarantee. Now if we come in once more, sets up for the R2. I don't know why I rolled that. That was kind of a bit of a mistake. I was in a position to punish him, but it doesn't really matter. I do the jumps, try to bait out something. Set him up there. I get really good chip there on that kick flip on the R2. If you hold the R2 and you backstep, it does do a little kick flip. Handy, doesn't really mean much. I keep up the aggro. Space out that. Think I'm going to get a backswing. I don't there. Force him back once again. I know that I think I can kill him through chip. I try and get the Stormblade out. Not quite able to do it. Stormblade out from neutral there just to try and bait something out. And now rolling attack to finish it off. Could I play that better? Most certainly. I tanked an awful lot of things I otherwise shouldn't have. The guard counters are very slow. I had an opportunity to roll millions of years beforehand, but I stay in anyway. Thinking I have the opportunity, you know, I have the opportunity to stay in and actually do damage, but I'm overzealous. Think he's going to respect my options. He doesn't. He swings out he swings out of it. Happens. And now we're going to go up against someone who's using, again, another off-meta setup. My off-meta is unfortunately just a little bit better than his. Goes for that swing there. I jump in expecting a roll. He doesn't. I know he's that kind of player. I can kind of make an adjustment in my mind of how I want to play this. Play it safe. Bave out with punishes. He's very keen for me to walk in. have guaranteed poise break as well. Goes to the jump L1, not quite able to connect. He whiffs from a million light years, which means I can punish it there with the Stormblade. Forces the roll there. I could have spaced that had I, had a bit of prediction. Don't do it. I realize now I can just like wait out these attacks. They take a million years. Bait it out. Hit him with a 1, 2, and then put him into a loading screen. And that's more or less the gist of this setup. They whiff. You immediately punish with an R1. You initiate. You can get a roll catch. You get them into hit stun. I can R1 again. Manage to get what we call the backswing or a frame trap. If they roll in a certain direction, my second R1 on the chain will just hit them. That's kind of how this setup works. Sideways jumps kind of throw me off here. Managing to clip me there, I thought I would have been out of range, but it doesn't matter. Tried to go for a roll catch, doesn't work. Again, I'm using these baits. I'm basically playing Dark Souls 3, managing to jump in there, do a little bit of damage. Didn't expect him to stay in. The quick step comes out. Not quite able to connect. Doesn't really matter. Hit him with the run R1. Run R1s are kind of a risky. Their hitbox is kind of fine. I'm still on the fence about them. Maybe we'll revisit it in a later video looking at them. And then he goes to just another sideways jump. It feels like he's just learnt it. Go for a little bit of a bow. There we go. Reset the rings. We're all good to go once again. And as rings and other kind of bells, whistles, and doohickeys, there's not really much I have to say. You kind of use your Millicent's prosthesis to get the guaranteed. You can choose that. I go bull goat so I can afford to tank hits. It's all pretty standard stuff. As for weapon arts, you just have access you have access to your flame strikes, your storm stomps. You have all of those are good options. All of those are good options. Stormblade to be able to attack from neutral. You can swap if you really want to, if you can remember to actually get to two-hand your weapon afterwards. This is not an optimized build. This build is not like playing to its highest. I'd have much higher poise. I'd have a bunch of stuff, but you don't really need it. And this guy here is a really dodgy connection, unfortunately, which is why I'm not really saying much. I don't trust the lad. I'm having to play super careful. I see that and I'm like, I'm out of here. I go for a ring swap. Just reset everything there. Sorry, talisman swap. I will eventually get it. And he has RKR now. He's going to play for trades. The connection is just ass. And thankfully he wasn't light rolling here. It would have been an absolute nightmare. I'm waiting for these things to connect. And that's a ghost hit from about a century ago. He trades there on that one hit, but he's one hit. It happens, and you look at the RKR there on the claws. They managed to do a third of my health. That's a nasty position to be in. I am not a big fan. Bad time for everyone. Just please play wired. Please play wired, or make sure you have a good enough connection. And not really much to say here. This person chose fun. The idiot. He has his bouquet out. He gave me flowers, and I'm going to give him a loading screen. And that's the nature of the beast. But on the other things you can do with this setup, you can't go for Cragblade. Cragblade seems like a good option, but I mostly play by tourney rules, which is there are no free buffs. Free buffs are not allowed. And then there's other buffs that you might want to use instead of it. Your Flaming Strike, you can get fire damage if that's your thing, and he misinputs there and he gets put away. You hate to see it. In hindsight, probably could have gone a little bit easier, but I was on a trend of using the Shamshir, kind of trying to show off the setup and what it can do. You get in close to someone, you R1 when you've guaranteed poise break, they roll, you hit another R1. You can roll catch, you can change up your timings as well if you don't want to go for the backswing. Backswing really to reset to neutral. Your staggered R1s going for roll catches are a good option if they're low poise. Against higher poise, you're going to get that go. You're going to go for the staggered ones because you're not really going to get an opportunity to roll catch them. This guy here is using the axe. I'm kind of thrown off here. We're getting trades, and that really shouldn't be happening. I go for the roll catch there, not quite able to connect it. Resetting here to the neutral, looking for those baits here to try and get him to whiff because I know I have a better moveset. I can just punish him. Jump in there. He goes to swing. We're here. I see these baits. I leverage. Almost thought there that I was going to actually outspace it, but I came in just a little bit early, and he goes to the running attack. His hitbox is kind of wonky and bad, so I can just like slap him away, and that's the nature of the beast. An awful lot of off meta today. Good opportunity to show off the moveset because so many of them are poise broken, but I believe we have one or two more fights. I believe this is the duel Naggies. And this is, I believe he's high poise. So in other words, it takes 2 R1s to actually poise break him. Or I have to set up for the jump R1s or R2s to try and get it. Set it up there, does manage to poise break him there. This setup, this is nasty. This is a bad time. I believe he's RKR on this as well, you know, Royal Lance Resolve, which of course if he manages to get that off, I tried to space that. I don't know why I did it. It's almost habit. Trying to be a little bit flashy here. In this matchup, you play this as ordinary and as boring as possible because that's... He outdamages me, he outranges me. I'm having to play this super careful. That's really what I should be doing. I managed to roll out there, managing to space that. Shouldn't have spaced, should have just rolled. I rolled in there, which is a mistake. Had he been in a better position or read that I was going to roll in, he could have just L1'd again and I would have been in serious trouble. But thankfully I managed to pull off moving back, resetting the spacing game. He clips me here. I am super low. If I'm hit once more, I am dead. I don't manage to get my talisman swaps. I'm playing very carefully. I don't want to be caught in menu. He clips that. No idea how he manages to do it. We see the bleed is very high here as well. I go for that. He does go for the quick step now on the HTS, which is... I don't know why you do that. Quick steps there. Managing to proc the bleed. I did roll it though. And then he, I imagine, runs out of stamina. And that's me managing to take that one there by a hair's breadth. The skin of my teeth. Should not have won that one by rights. That was a combination of luck and poor decision making on his part. I didn't win that because I was good. I won that because he could have played better. And there we have it. That is the video, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just take a quick peek at the build. Very simple. This is not being played optimally. I'm not rocking the armors I would usually rock, but it gives me everything I need. I believe I'm around 113, 111 poise. Have solid damage. I could, if I was to use that fashion, I'd probably have higher dex. Not that the 5 to 10 AR in the difference it's actually going to make is worth it, but there you go, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully there'll be lots more. I do have another one using the Shamshir, probably against maybe much more meta setups, but I hope you enjoy. And if you like it, please subscribe and likes, all of that nonsense. Take care.